Hello and welcome to my first of my three-part series called Monsters in Media. This is where I'm going to be talking about the three big monsters we see in media: werewolves, vampires, and zombies. And first we're going to kick off with the ones I like. But before I go any further, let me get into a little more detail of what this is about. This is just me talking about how, the media portrays or, shows or lack of the three big monsters. And we're going to kick off with the monsters I love the most, werewolves. Werewolves, for the most part, they get shafted, in my opinion. They get shafted a lot. The werewolves, for the most part, haven't been in a lot of movies based around then. I'm not going to include Twilight because, for those who are Twilight of my friends and subscribers who are Twilight fans, I'm sorry, and I bear no offense to any of you, but Twilight's not my cup of tea. If you like it, that's fine. That's fine by me. No grudge against you. Just not my thing. But anyway, werewolves, yeah, for the most part, have been kind of shafted in all medium, in comics, cartoons, anime, television shows. But I'll get onto that in a minute. And movies. The last werewolf movie I could say that was just around werewolves and didn't have vampires or anything in it was the remake of Joe Johnston's remake of The Wolfman, which was so at best. I'm pretty sure there's one out there, but I've never seen it. But I've never seen a werewolf anime. But you could argue, people would argue that, oh, what about Wolf's Rain? That has wolves, people turning into wolves. No, it's wolves turning into humans. That's totally different thing. It's not really considered a werewolf. You have to start out, in my opinion, to be a werewolf, you got to start out as a man and become a wolf, not the other way around. So, in fact, they were more like they were following some of the Asian traditions where the wolves were messengers of the gods. But I could go into a whole review of Wolf's Rain. Anyway, yeah, even comics, we have some comic books around werewolves. We have a few, but they never really get a lot of focus. Even, Robert Kirkman's Astounding Wolfman, that didn't get a lot of hype. In fact, it only lasted 25 issues until Robert Kirkman decided to end it. I don't know why. I mean, it was good. I mean, the artwork was kind of off-putting at some points, but I liked the book. It grew on me. I liked Astounding Wolfman. Werewolf by Night. He's a superhero in the Marvel Universe, but sometimes he's an animal. In fact, I suggest everyone goes check out, if you're a fan of werewolves and comics, go check out Werewolf by Night. There's a Marvel Max book with Werewolf by Night in it. It's very good. Getting back to movies. Werewolves in movies. Okay, like I said, The Wolfman was the last one, that was okay. The last great werewolf movie anyone will ever see, if you're a fan of werewolf movies, check out this werewolf movie, Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers was probably, arguably, the last best werewolf movie I've seen in a long time. That movie was fantastic. I'll give you a brief synopsis. In fact, you can actually find the whole movie on YouTube. You can find it, it's all in parts, and it's actually really good. The synopsis is that a group of British or Irish, I can't remember, soldiers are on a training mission and they get attacked by werewolves. So, that's awesome. It's kind of like, the best way I could describe it is kind of like Evil Dead and Predators put together. It's awesome. Now, unlike, vampires and zombies, werewolves, like I said, get the least amount of attention. I don't know why. It's such a simplistic, simplistic manner, they're the most simplistic animals. I mean, zombies and vampires are kind of complex when you look at them, like how they got that way, or actually no, werewolves are actually the second most complex. Zombies are the most simplistic. I take that back. Werewolves are actually kind of easy. Guy gets bit by a werewolf and he turns into a monster. I'm surprised you don't see that a lot. In fact, however, I know there's a new TV show called Teen Wolf. I watched that for one episode, and I only watched one episode, and it didn't appeal to me. I'm sorry, guys. If you like it, that's fine. But that's the last good thing I've seen of a werewolf TV show, and I really don't know if MTV might keep that around, because I don't know how the general media populace is going to take that. The other thing is too is like werewolves I don't know why werewolves have such, people don't care much for this character, for these monsters. They're probably the most coolest. The fact that you can unleash the whole thing. Let me back up. The whole thing behind werewolves is that you have this monster inside of you, and everyone has that that whole inner beast thing unleashed, and uh, it being unleashed on one night, unleashing your dark side, that inner animal, that inner beast. People can really, if you could do it in the right way, you could take it to so many levels, And, I've never really seen, excluding Red Riding Hood, I didn't care much for Red Riding Hood, because I didn't, it just, that's why I didn't count it as, like, a werewolf movie. That was, wow, that was bad. Uh, anyway, moving on. I just lost my train of thought, damn it. Yeah, I've really liked werewolves. I've always thought it was just cool to unleash that whole sense of the inner animal and whatnot. The other thing is that, I don't see the big problem. I mean, of course, like, oh, werewolves can be killed by silver. I mean, I could kill them with a silver spoon. I mean, I like the fact that, the other thing is that, what also sets apart werewolves from, zombies and vampires is that they still have that human side to them. Zombies, they're just the Walking Dead. Vampires are dead, but they're just completely rotten and evil. True vampires are rotten, evil, and they just want to kill you. Werewolves have that inner innocence, so it makes them all the more harder, like, let's say in most media movies, with werewolves in them, it's like a loved one, like a boyfriend or brother or sister, has to kill a werewolf, and it's like a relative or a lover. That just makes it all the more harder, to take down this animal that's just going to kill over and over again because it's someone who has, like, that innocence to them, and they're just consumed by the animal inside them. So that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, people can really take that, if you do it right, you can take that to so many different levels and bring that into such a great light. And, I don't know about the rest of you, by the way. I'm just going to bring this up as a random little thought right here. But I really like bipedal werewolves. Like this picture represents right here. I don't care much for the giant wolves, because it just looks like, it's just a wolf. I mean, I did like it in American Werewolf in London. Like, that, I consider that the godfather of werewolf movies right there. That's the, I wouldn't call it the godfather, but, that's the king of werewolf movies. American Werewolf in London. That is just 8 kinds of epic. That movie is just 8 kinds of epic right there. Yeah, I don't really see the problem. I mean, why do people a lot of people just go around getting near vampires, but, I have a lot of friends and subscribers yeah, vampires suck, werewolves are awesome. And I just always dug them even as a kid. I always read, this is funny, because as a kid growing up, through middle school and high school, in my libraries there used to be, books about lycanthropy. That's the quote unquote scientific term for werewolves. And they talk about, the different kinds of were-monsters, like were-foxes in Japan, the were-whales in Alaska. Yeah, there's whales. And were-cockroaches. There's actually were-cockroaches, can you believe it? And, it always talked about, these different transformations of man into beast, and, unleashing that inner monster. In fact, I've always loved that idea. I've always loved that, you can unleash that monster and, bring out, and then still be human. You can still keep that humanity. Because unlike, zombies and vampires, werewolves still have their humanity. They just they're just, consumed by the beast for, a short amount of time. It's not like with vampires and zombies, it's indefinite. With a werewolf, it's just one night. And then you go back to being human. I mean, you probably, feel guilty about what you did, or, you pretty much have a nice day. It all depends on what you maul the night before. But that's why I like them. I mean, you still have that touch of humanity. I mean, I think I really hate being a vampire because I like daytime. Daytime is nice. I don't. Well, I like staying in dark places, but I like to walk out in the sunlight. I'm not one of those people who's like, ugh, sunlight. Nor am I. But I'm not a beach person, so maybe that. The only time I'd want to be a vampire is if I'm going to the beach. That's about it. Nor do I want to be a zombie, just a walking reanimated corpse. I don't. I like zombies and vampires, but there are a lot of other reasons that I dig the werewolves over, over the other two. And another reasons why I like werewolves is because werewolves don't have a motive. They don't have true werewolves, in my opinion, are just mindless animals. That I really don't like it when they bring intelligence to werewolves. I mean, I can respect the idea of werewolves that werewolves that have like a pack mentality, like actual wolves, and show like wolf level intelligence, because wolves are actually really intelligent. Wolves, the werewolves that have like a pack mentality, that I can understand it, but when they're talking, it's kind of like throws off the whole mythos. Like, it shows that you have some control, and the whole concept of a werewolf that you have control. So the werewolves that have no control is like, unlike vampires who have like a goal, they want to consume everything, or zombies who also share this. But werewolves, you have that good balance, in my opinion, of you have your humanity, but you can still they don't have a motive. They don't need like this big overlapping motive like some vampires in media shows, or like zombies who are just ugh. Werewolves are in that good balance, in my opinion. So yeah, that's like why I like werewolves. And I really, I got a lot more to talk about. And I think the media just really just displays, just being werewolf makes you emo. I'm pretty sure I'd like to see a TV show. In fact, there's actually was a TV show called Werewolf the Series. It was a lot like the 70s Incredible Hulk TV show, except it was a college student as a werewolf, and that was actually pretty good. They used to show it on Chiller, the Chiller channel. I don't know how many of you have that channel, but it was a good show. I remember watching the reruns. It was pretty fun. But having that, but I hate it when, most werewolf movies or, anything with them, it's like, oh, I can't stand being this monster. And I can understand that, you have all this guilt of becoming a cold-blooded monster, but on the other hand, it's only one night. It's one night, and then, 29 days, you're okay. 29 days out of a month, you're fine. It's not like with a vampire, you have a lot of restrictions. So, I really think the media just really overplays that with werewolves. Even though there are a lot of good werewolf movies I can name, they still have that overlapping, I hate being a werewolf scenario. So, there's that. But yeah, I think I've covered it. I think I ranted and ranted and raved for about, I don't know, a full 14 minutes now. But yeah, I think the most part is that I'd like to see a good, solid werewolf movie come out in at least the next few years, and, have the elements of, a human that doesn't mind being a werewolf, but still feels like, I don't want to get rid of it, I want to control it kind of scenario. I really want to see that in a werewolf movie. And, I really hope they cover that. And stay tuned, because we're far from done. Next, I guess still got 2 more parts to this. So, how do you guys feel about before I go, I want to know, how do you guys feel about the portrayal of werewolves in movies or in media in general today? And do you think they should do some more stuff with werewolves, or something else? Let me know.